Coming up on Mental Health Matters with Marty, fathers and their adult-son relationships. Stay tuned. What's up, everybody? Hey, welcome to another live show of Mental Health Matters with Marty. I am coming to you live from Southern California. Now I can say where the sun is always shining, and I am your host and your mental health hygienist, Martinez Sellers. Listen, we are so glad that you are joining us tonight. I am so excited about tonight's episode and that we're going to have this actual conversation talking about Black fathers and having a relationship with their adult male sons. Now, listen, I want to know where you're at, who's out there listening. As our reminder, this show, Mental Health Matters with Marty, is a total, I see your comment, Jasmine, it threw me off, is a educational tool, and it's to be a supplement for your mental health and wellness treatment. We are not a substitute. We are not your therapist. We are not your life coach. We are a supplement to support you along your mental health journey. So listen, if you're experiencing any type of mental health or medical emergency, please go to your nearest urgent care. But if not, stay tuned. Listen, put some people in the chat right now who need to hear the show. We are sending out a message. Yes, thank you, Jasmine. Sending out a message to let Black fathers know, listen, we want to have a conversation and we want to talk about it. So what's been going on? Tell me something good, y'all. What have you been appreciating? Yes, out here with the cows. Yes, we do have cows in Southern California, despite popular belief. But what's going on, everybody? Let us know that you are alive and well. Have we got caught up on this daylight savings time? I don't know. My body is still shutting down. And can I say that I am fully vaccinated and excited about it? I don't know. I now have this new confidence that's walking around. Now, don't get me wrong. I still mask up. Why? Because I do it for my safety and yours. Hey, that's right. That's right. That's right. Listen, we want to continue to mask up. We still want to act wisely. We still want to do the things that really are protecting us and everyone else. Thank you, Jasmine, for putting people in the comment section. If you know people who need to hear this exciting conversation that's about to go down tonight, put some people in the comment section. Invite them in. Come on and let them in the room, y'all. We got some great stuff. Alana, come on, enjoy the pork noise. Hear the convo. Yes, that's right, Alana. Listen, there's some great people on here tonight. Alana Moore, if you have not bought her book, where it's called ADHD is My Superpower, you need to go get that book on Amazon. Also, if you need a social media expert that comes through, listen, Jasmine Smith is thebomb.com. That's what I'm talking about with that. So we are so glad. I'm not going to get up here and talk all night, but I want to bring on my first guest tonight. He's doing some amazing work out in the DMV, working specifically with men, working specifically with Black men, and we need all the help. We have experienced a hellish year in 2020. We've seen so many Black men who were brutally beaten, killed, all of those things, that we have to have a safe space to unleash, to unwind, to do some other things. Come on, Alfred, yes. Al Moore, listening from Inland Empire. That's right. That's right. Come on. Saw it on your frat's page. Come on, frat. We know who that is. The new frat. That's it. Yes. But we are so glad that you are here tonight. But I want to bring on my first guest. So glad this is his first time on the Mental Health Matters with Marty show, but definitely not his last. We did a live IG show a little over a month ago. We're going to keep that up. And we were talking about Black men issues and different challenges that we have. So welcome with me all the way from the DMV, none other than Mr. Korey Morris.
Hey, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm well, man. How you doing out there?
I'm good, man. That's a lot of energy you got over here. You know, on the East Coast, it's late, so we talked about that earlier. But you did a wonderful job for introducing me. So, as you mentioned earlier, I thank you so much for allowing me to be on the show and to talk to your family, your network of people, just like how you did with me a month ago. So
right,
I've been excited to come on your show and for us to do this. So thank you,
man. Listen, I'm grateful to have you. You know, there's not so many of us doing this work.
Absolutely.
You know, when we look at even in the profession of a black male therapist, we represent 1% of this population doing this work of human services, healing our population, healing our men. Talk to us about Tomorrow's Men,
right.
What it's all about, why that. I love the. I got to give me one of those polos, brother.
I
love the polo.
I'm gonna send one to you. Yeah,
I appreciate it. Talk to us about what you're doing and why you chose, why that platform, and what's your heart all about.
Right. So as I mentioned before, Tomorrow's Men is an organization that my mom actually started in the late 80s, and when she was in South Florida. And so she moved to South Florida and worked with some gentlemen in high school. And so what she saw was there was a lack of guidance. And though she was a woman, she was able to bring some young men around who needed some guidance, not just from her. So she created the platform, but also allowed for other people to come in and speak to these young men. And so I got an opportunity to see these guys because they were maybe like 8 years older than me. And right after our conversation that we had, I actually ended up having a conversation with those guys about this. And so, I told them that you are my inspiration. They mentioned that, they used to pick me up from school and be my big brother. So to see them now and to talk about what my mom did for them in that space was phenomenal. And so what I wanted to do is carry on that legacy with the name, but also open it up for men of color because of the issues that we've suffered, we continue to have, but we try to make sure we have the platform here to make sure that we are putting out there what we need to put out there. We talked about the 90s, we talked about the Million Man March and all those things that a lot of men were around to have those impactful conversations. So Tomorrow's Men is a place for life coaching, is a place for retreats, and it also provides opportunity for us to have this platform to talk about the issues that we have. And so I am a life coach. I speak to not just men, but women too, because we talk about relationships and how we can get over these relationships. And my podcast is called The Brother to Brother Show.
Yes,
so,
love that.
We allow for men and women. It's predominantly men, but we want to have, the sisters and the women on to talk about their side of the story so that we can both come together and be able to have some really intentional conversation around making us better people. Right. So, that's what it's all about.
I hear you. Korey, 2020 was a rough year.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for black men. We saw so much violence. We saw so much hatred, intentional. And I love what you're doing, especially first talk to us about some of the age demographics that you definitely work with and why is it so important? I love that you're standing on the shoulders of mom. So y'all, you need to rally around this. If you don't know, get on his IG account, get on his other stuff, because we need to support this because black men in particular need safe spaces where we can definitely unload and vent and all those things and not be categorized as the angry black man, as always being violent, always being in a point of rage. Yeah, hell, we're in rage because we are angry. We are hurting and we don't have safe areas to talk to us about. So what are some of the demographics, age group demographics that you deal with, and why is this so important today?
So you mentioned something, and I want to make sure I'm very clear about this. My mom also realized, because we have a lot of women who maybe listen to your show and mine, that are raising black men, right?
That's right.
Boys to become men.
Yeah.
But my mom recognized the fact that she's a woman. She could not raise me by herself.
Right.
So I want to put it out there for the women who are listening. Like, she recognized that, so therefore she wanted to make sure I was around the right men or in that right track. So she was very intentional with that. So I feel like I tell women who have sons, you have to be very intentional who you put your young boy around and what influences you have him around so that he can become a man at some point.
Right.
So I was around the coaches, but I was also around the men who wore suits.
Love that. Yes.
So I got a balance, and so I try to make sure that when I'm talking on the sports side, but I'm also talking on the, hey, you go to school, educate yourself, and make sure that you're well-rounded. And so the demographic that I try to make sure that I touch on is 27 to about 50.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay. They say that men get theirs after 30. So we have to learn a little bit more. But that's the important years when you're coming into manhood. I don't care about that 24, 25-year-old stuff. You become a man. You understand what daddy meant at 30. You don't get it at 24, 25.
I was crazy as a road lizard on crack at 25.
Yeah.
But just trying to come in. I love that you're really honing in, because those are those times when we really get to hear it. We're definitely talking about family. We're talking about careers.
Yes.
We're talking about finances. And if we don't have those role models to help point us in that direction, many of us are absolutely, like Alana said, absolutely, we're lost, and we need that. I love it. Alana, you're stealing my thunder, girl, all my joy with that. I love that. Paula, how are you? Now, see that, I got to introduce you to Paula. Paula will have your platform at having 1 million overnight. She is the well-connected one with that. But she's with Voya Financial Group, and she is absolutely amazing. But what I love that you're doing, Korey, is definitely helping to reach back and helping those young men along the way. And you said something very, very important. And it's definitely no diss to single moms. Hey, single moms are doing it. And can we also give out a shout out to single dads who are doing it?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we don't give the single dads out there any type of props as well, because it takes a village. It takes dad, it takes mom, and it takes that with it. But I love that you recognize, and your mom instilled and recognized too. Listen, a mom can be a mom.
Yeah.
She can be a role model, but she cannot be a dad. And I
we
think
gotta stop that. We gotta stop saying that. And I hope I don't,
listen, say
anybody,
it.
But we gotta stop with this whole, hey, women can do what men can do, and they can to a certain degree. But
but there's a reason why
we're there. You go,
dads.
Yeah. When you heard Daddy was coming home, you knew what was coming. You know what was going on.
Right. So, but Korey, there are statistics out there.
A balance.
It really is.
It's a balance. That's all.
Yeah. There's statistics out there to show that when fathers show up, are active in their, let's start with daughters, in their daughter's life.
Absolutely.
The pregnancy rate in high school cuts down.
Hey.
Yeah. The premarital sex and having sex is cut down. Thank you, Vin. It takes both. The possibility of them turning to alcohol and all that, it's cut. And here's what the funny thing is, and we don't understand why. Their math and science scores increased by almost a whole letter grade.
Okay.
For some reason, it triggers that. I believe it's the right side of the brain. It triggers all of that by just a dad showing up and being active in their life. And for the young men, we know that the likelihood of them joining gangs, the likelihood of them also having premarital sex, the likelihood of them turning to drugs and alcohol, and their grades also increase as well. So there is a role. We know mothers are going to be nurturers. That's just put in them. But fathers can be as well. But the absolute importance and vitality of fathers showing up in their lives are so important.
And we can't allow society to dictate our culture and who we are.
Yes.
Our culture is as men, we hold people to a certain level of standard and accountability. That used to be a big thing for us, and I feel like we're losing some of that with social media. And it's definitely a platform for us to be on and talk about a lot of different things. But it's about what we're putting out there too. So I appreciate you again, us having these conversations, because I don't hear enough of this. I don't hear enough of this.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of it when I was growing up. You saw so many different people of color on TVs, movies. And I'm not saying they don't show that now, but what we were talking about then really empowered me. I can speak for myself. So
yeah. Yeah, let's put Virginia White's comment back up there, Daryl. Virginia White said it this way. She says, "Dads show girls how they are to be treated in life." I agree with that statement, because if I'm now treating my daughter the way that I want her to be treated, or how I'm now setting the bar, because if she dates some knucklehead, she'll listen. My daddy can do this. What can you do? What a statement. My daddy does this. Baby, you got to come up to, raise the bar in that.
Certain level of standards that they need to have.
That's it. That's it. Listen, Korey, we're having this great conversation. We got some other guests on here I want to bring on with us tonight, because these are fathers. These are dads. These are they 24, because parenting is a 24-hour job. Now, did we do it right all the time? I'm here to admit I got some major mistakes that I even had to go back and apologize. I love it. Tricia says it this way: and when a father is affectionate and supported, it increases a child's cognition and social development, which increases their overall sense of well-being and confidence. Tricia, that is absolutely 100% correct in there. And I want to bring on some of these fathers who have helped instill confidence and even has gone through some struggle in their own lives. But guess what? We don't give up. We keep pressing, we keep pushing, and so forth. So I want to bring to the stage, he's been on here. He ain't no stranger. We call him Rasta GT Ride in here all the way from Anaheim. This is a young man. Rasta, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so glad. Now, Korey, what you don't know, this young man, I'm going to call you young tonight.
I ship a sail, some.
Listen, Korey, he and his wife are putting their twin boys through an Ivy League schools.
Oh, okay.
Right. Twin boys at Brown University at the total of how much a year per kid?
Roughly $76K.
A year.
A year, yeah.
Combined or individually?
Indos. For Dolo.
But what I love, Korey, is they made some intentional choices.
There you go.
About how they were going to raise their sons in this. And then Steve has also an older son, little Steve, who ain't little no more. And little Steve is how old, Steve?
He is 28.
Wow.
Yeah, he's 28 years old now, yeah.
Yeah. You're getting old.
Listen, salty, it's all salty.
Little season on it and everything. I also want to bring to the stage, all the way from Missouri, V-Way of Kansas City, Lee Summit, who also is an amazing father. Welcome to the very first time to the Mental Health Matters with Marty show, none other than Mr. Keith Caldwell. What's up, Keith? You're on mute, so let's work.
There you go. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. How you feeling?
I'm doing quite well out here. It's cold, but it's quite good.
See, we try to tell you, come on to the West Coast, the best coast there is,
All
where
right.
the sun is always shining. Listen, Keith, welcome, man. Tell us, now, little Keith is how old?
Little Keith is 28.
28. So, not so little.
Right.
Yes.
With that, yes.
I'm 6'5", he's 7 foot.
Oh, wow.
He really
Yes.
is?
Yes.
That's a giant.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Wow. So you got to chop that brother off at the knees when you would say something to him. Wow. And let's start this conversation, man. How is it parenting now? When our kids are little, that's one thing. But now that they are adults, how do we parent? How do we even relate to our grown children now? I'm gonna start with you, Steve. How do we relate to that?
Well, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, so for me, I feel when my son, my eldest boy, Steve Jr., was young, you're more of a dictator. And I heard someone say this before, right? You're a loving dictator when your child is very young, living in the home, following rules, and you're the one that's supposed to be guiding him and so on. But as time progresses, you go from dictator to coach to where they, to mentor and that kind of thing. So I try to mentor him now as an adult, where
right.
Talk about being a mentor, right? Mentor is basically you can give advice, but it's up to them to take it. So parenting an adult child is is very frustrating at times, because you sometimes see that they're walking into fire, and you're trying to help them avoid that fire, but then they choose to walk into that fire.
Right.
So all the frustration, fear, all those things, and on top of that, they're Black kids. So that's another dynamics that we actually have to always contend with. I was raised in Brooklyn, so there was always a certain level of anxiousness or fear of the police and all those different things that a lot of times people kind of my twins can't really understand, because we were so sheltered from that environment. But for me, living in New York and having those horror stories and things going on within New York, and now coming into California, where you have my son now who's driving, and we having to teach them those different things of keeping your hands on the steering wheel, and those subtleties that other races don't have to pretty much contend with. I will say that nicely, but we do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So then a lot of times then we have to factor that in as we talk to them. You got to make sure you be over and all cautious in dealing with other people, the police especially, and that kind of thing, and then helping them understand that can be a challenge at times. But parenting adult kids that's trying to adult and that kind of thing, and trying to guide them, to me, can be very frustrating, to say the least.
Rightfully so. Trust me, been there, done that. Listen, I want to bring on our third guest as well. Since he's here now, we want to bring on from Pasadena, chef himself, none other than Mr. Troy Artis. Troy, there we go. How you feeling, Troy? Can you see us and hear us?
Hey.
Okay, got a little. There we go. Can you? There we go.
Yes, I can.
Can you? Okay, we got a little delay on our end. Let's work that out. So, Keith, talk to us about that whole relationship dynamics with even you and your 7 foot. I did not realize little Keith was 7 foot. That we call him Big Keith, and you officially now Little Keith.
And doesn't like basketball, loves golf. So
nice.
Let's see. I think
Go ahead.
The dynamic now is so much harder because our village now is worldwide.
Right.
You have social media that chimes in on how to raise your child. Whereas when you were just a child, for my generation, it was your parents, maybe your aunties, or maybe your uncles, that weighed in the same way that your parents raised in, because, we're all raised together. And now you have so much outside input that it's very difficult, and your child is wanting to be like the other children. So it's very hard to kind of curve them back into the standards and the way you think they should go as a man or as a young lady. So I think that's the biggest difference now that we have.
Right. It really is. It really is that we have now. Now, I'm gonna go there. What has been definitely heard the challenges and with that, because when our kids are younger, there's one style of parenting. Now that they're older, like you said, Steve, we're into now the mentoring and trying to give them great advice. Says, where do you find clubs that I don't know where. Vin!
Home Depot.
Steve, did you send the link to Vin? Vin, I thought we sent the link to you. If not, jump on. Get in this virtual room. Listen, and so parenting when they're kids, especially, I'm not gonna admit, I've definitely parented my 30-year-old different than I parent my 23-year-old, and don't y'all judge me, different than when I parent my 5-year-old. Shut up, Steve. Korey's going, oh God, yeah, that's a whole
That's a serious range.
It is. Look, the 5-year-old, I'm just like tired.
Let me start over again.
No. I'm just at the point where I can pay for a nanny now. Listen, let's see if we get Troy back in. I think we got Troy all set now. Come on back in, Troy. There we go, Troy. You good with us now? And 1 2 1 2.
Yes, I am. Can you guys hear me?
We hear you,
Choppy.
but you're still
that?
choppy. Sound like we getting there. We getting there.
1 2. Can you hear me?
Sounds like a bad Wi-Fi connection.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, yes, but parenting kids when we were, especially when we were in our, I love, Korey, what you're saying, helping us parent, what you're doing, starting at ages, well, you said 27 and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I needed a coach at 27 to help me in parenting.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that some of my podcasters and people have been on before, they talk about, and is the fact that it's hard to catch the kid. We talked about mentorship. It's hard to catch them after 25 because they think they know everything. And I get it.
I did.
Yeah, I get it. I was there too. You couldn't tell me nothing. Went to college and like, oh, that, you know, you grown and what do you say then? But I feel like you just have to go through those trials and tribulations. And then when you kind of figure it out, like, I don't know everything, but I think if you're brought up to seek out information and to seek a certain type of man out. And I've even been at jobs where I'm not sure if you all can understand where I'm coming from. I'm sure some of you have, but you see another man that's like you and you connect instantly.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of, even if it's an older gentleman or whatever,
Exactly.
you all can have dialogue, but I'm not sure if the younger generation appreciates that as much as we did.
Oh, that's good. That's good. What's our thoughts on that?
I think that's so important.
Yeah. Steve, what's your thoughts on
I 100% agree with that because I built a career in IT because I was able to humble myself and follow direction from a person who was living, doing what I actually wanted to do in my career path. I'm a network engineer. I didn't go to college. I'm self-taught. But what I did differently was I found a person who was doing it.
There you go.
Right. In his back pocket, shut my mouth, listen to what he said, and then applied it before I corrected him. So that won't work. How would I know that would work if I didn't try it first? I'll try it before I come back. And that's kind of the model that I was modeling for my kids. I told them all the time, I say, guys, you don't have to know it all, but you just have to build resources and know how to go find the answer. You know, and especially in the IT field, you don't. There's no way possible you're going to know it all. But you can't walk into the door. Oh, I know everything about this and I know everything about that. You just got to know where to go find your answers. And I think that kind of transitions into my parenting style with my kids. And I have all boys. I have 3 boys. And one of the things I kind of tell them all the time was, don't be afraid of hearing the word no. You know, stop. That's not any kind of ding towards your manhood because someone told you no. Expect rejection, period. But now let's go out there but go drop the fear of hearing the word no and go ask your question. And I hope that those are the kind of things that they were able to, glean from me, because I would bring them in situations. I'm a big person on modeling. So I would have them with me when I wanted something or were trying to, attain something. I would have them right there next to me, and I'll go ask questions, and I'll go ask people, "Hey, how do we do this?" And then, and help them, and hopefully help them drop that fear and to seek that mentoring. Like you said, you go into a room, you find a person, and I tell them all the time, if they're not living the way you want to live, then stop trying to follow them.
There you go.
Period.
But how do we? Because we're definitely competing against everyone else. It feels
my gosh.
like.
The world.
Can I say something to that note real quick? Can I say
please,
something to that note?
Please, go ahead, Korey.
They used the Jordan analogy. He was like, everybody sees the shots I made,
but
everybody didn't see the shots I missed.
Process driven or results
So
oriented.
So
yeah,
they hate
See
the
the
process.
glory, but you don't know the story.
there you go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
That's
let
a
me go
flash
here. We all have, at least most of us heard, all the struggle that I'm just saying Kirk Franklin and his older adult son has had. we're gonna touch it and we're gonna run. We're gonna touch it and run. We're gonna touch it and run.
Tag you in. Come on, Vin. I know you got a lot.
We gonna touch it and run. But how do we? And again, I'm making this clear. So if this gets curtain, I don't know his story. I don't know everything about it. I just know there's a tumultuous relationship from his son that he had, of course, when he was younger. And I'll say this, I love Kurt in that he's admitted all the challenges he's had. You know, not having a relationship with his own parents and his grandmother raising him. He admitted to all the pornography addiction he had at one time and some of the other struggles. But you know, and the whole limelight and all that, that's a whole nother story. But I want to focus mainly on the father-adult-son relationship with that. I'm not here to condone or condemn him one way or other. All I'm saying is, to me, there's a sign of an unhealthy relationship. And when do we press forward and when do we just kind of go, you do you, I'm going to do me. You grown. I can't claim you on my taxes no more. So God bless your heart and your ministry. Keith, what do we say to that?
Hey, rock on with your bad self. I mean, you know that point. I mean, because internally, this is your child. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you know that how hard-headed your child is, how hard your child is willing to listen to you. You get to that point, and there comes a point that when it's stressing you out and you see you stressing them out, trying to get them to go a certain way that you think that they should go. And that's the first thing we have to stop doing. I can't make you a doctor. I don't want you to be a doctor. I want you to be who you're supposed to be.
That's it.
Once you get to that point and you see that, you have to have that conversation with your man-child and say, you know what? I will only be on the sideline of wherever you're going, and I'll be here for you. But the rest of that, you got to go your way. You have to go your way because you cannot financially support someone who's going to hurt you.
Ooh, wait.
Wow.
We gotta let that one sink in. Yeah. You can't financially support someone who is going to hurt you. In that regard. So we're going to try one more time, Troy. We're going to give you one more again. Come on in and see how it is. There we go, Troy. You back with us? We're going to get you in there tonight.
How about this? How about this? Am I good?
Yeah, it's your connection.
Guys, I hear everything going on. Am I still clapping?
Yeah.
Yes, we're catching every
AT&T,
other.
so I don't know what AT&T is doing to me tonight.
Tell me, you need a boost or you need a refund with that.
That's like Cox Mobile. Cox Wi-Fi.
Steve, you're gonna have to go help. You're gonna have to go help Troy out with his connection with that. But how do we, seriously? How do we get through sometimes what appears, when you poured out your soul? Steve, talk to us about when you pour out your soul and it feels like you're being slapped in the face. And when do we give them permission and room to make mistakes? Because I know I made a lot of mistakes. I just did mine away from home. I took my butt to UC Berkeley, and I just kept all my mistakes to myself.
Don't put your business on the street, man. Don't put your business on the street.
This is before internet, before emails.
Those are the same.
Yes, listen. You couldn't tweet it, and it wasn't blown up on. So I'm so glad because I be put out, y'all. Talk to us, Steve. Talk to us.
Well, I believe personally, once you move out of the house, I mean, then you're grown. My eldest son chose to move out at 18. So I have a my wife and I talk about this before. I'm like, my mentality is, well, he's moved out, and decisions he makes needs to be his. Now, unless he seeks advice, like I said before, now he has to come to me for advice. I'm not going. Right. I have a strict personal mantra that I don't volunteer information. I don't volunteer advice, I should say. Okay. So, because what happens is someone brings a wall up. I mean, think about it. When you go to someone and say they're getting married and they're 19 years old, do you think they're telling you, can I get married? Or they're telling you, I'm getting married? Now, what can you tell them to deter them from getting married? You know what I mean? So, and I say that from experience. I got married very young when I was in the Marine Corps. So my dad was like, what are you doing, kid? You crazy? You know, and what did I do? I went straight into getting married, you know, so, and that lasted a couple of years and it was over, you know, but still, if I listened to my dad, it would have been a different situation. Again, so I try to learn from those errors I made in life. And I say, I stand firm with, if they come to me for advice, then I give my advice, and then it's requested, you know, but if I just go throw it on their chest, a lot of times, like you said before, guys, when they're in college or when they're of age of being on their own, they think they got it going on. They think their chest is puffed up against you. You don't know, Dad. You're old. You know what I mean? You haven't been through nothing. Times is different.
You know?
Right,
you know,
right.
They say all those different things because like we don't know what we're talking about. Like we didn't really, you know, act a fool growing up. You know what I mean? So I think that
we can act a fool if we wanted to, but we're going to get the consequences of acting a fool.
Exactly. And they have, I mean, I say it before, I would hate to be a young man in this era.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot.
It's, you know, it's crazy. There's so much pressure, so many different things coming at you. Yes, you can be very successful. There's a lot of opportunities in this era. I mean, I would be a young man in this era with my mindset I have today.
Right.
100%.
Right.
You know, but to come through this at their age and go through those different bombardment of social media, all the different things coming at you and struggles coming at you, it's a tough road to carry. But now, how do you help them navigate that? You talking about grown men? You talking about grown people?
Yeah, you mentioned something earlier, brother. Like I can remember, like you know, Marty mentioned it earlier about, you know, it's hard to make sure that women don't get pregnant when they're young. But for men, we all know it's that one time you start feeling yourself.
Yes.
I don't know if it's 16 for some, 18 for some, you know, and it's like it's just like, oh, I'm a man now. You like, because you know, you do a couple of push-ups. But I remember that. But it was the last scene in Fences. If you saw with Denzel Washington, that happened. It was coming. And what did he say? Oh man, I've been waiting on this. I don't know if
Yeah.
And I also remember the another thing that came to mind when you all were talking was the old folks used to say, where I'm from, you just keep on living. You try to give people advice, and you have to keep living to understand what somebody's saying because they're not there yet.
So how do we help as fathers, and even I'm going to start with you, Korey, and then we'll hit Keith and Steve. How do we help our adult sons? How do we help our young men in that regards as well? If you were coaching, now, and I love the term coaching, and I use that oftentimes because men will take a coach better than they'll take a therapist because we understand coaching. Because we had football coaches, basketball coaches, baseball, you know, because a coach can yell at you. Your therapist can't. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna be your coach today because I'm about to lose it. How do we help fathers and young men in these relationships when they're tumultuous?
So I try to make sure that during coaching, you know, when we talked about it, therapy is you're really touching on the past, and coaching, I take you where you are.
Oh, that's good.
So I just try to figure out where you are, and if there's a solution, I help you figure it out. You already have the tools that you really need. I guide you in that direction. And so
that's good.
If it's difference between if I'm just coaching or if I'm being a mentor, if I'm being a mentor, I'm giving my past experiences.
Right.
I'm telling my experiences and things that I've had to go through. And this is one thing I want to say. I'm not a father, but I will say this. I don't believe you have to go through it to learn from it.
That's good.
I think that you can have people around you who are going through it, and you pay attention to those things and say, hey, I don't want to be like that. And I think I've had a lot of people around me who have made some decisions that they might not want it to have to, but my older siblings will say to me, or people that are older than me will say, you had me to look at. So I did. I paid attention to those things and tried to make sure that I made the proper decision in the situations when they came about, because maybe I didn't have that situation happen to me at that age, but when it came about, I saw it and I was able to tackle it differently. Doesn't mean that I didn't make mistakes. Didn't mean that I didn't make a poor choice, but I knew how to kind of like get over it or talk through it because I had people around me who I really respected, and then men who may have gone through some of those divorces or whatever, but I really wanted to know how they got over it. and a lot of you all know, you've gone through trials and tribulations. It's hard for men to kind of little process things.
That's good. Yes.
Like women, they do their vision board parties and their, all that type of. Men, it's like, hey man, you good?
Right.
No, nobody says they good. They're like,
Right.
I'm good. No,
Right.
you're not good. Let's
Go
talk
ahead,
about
Keith.
it, bro.
Yeah.
I want to interject on what he just said about someone looking up to someone teaching you something. That is the one thing I would say I got from my mother and not from my father, is that when I saw other circumstances going on around me, my mother usually sat us at the table and dissected it for us and would be like, this is why they are where they are now. Because, and you could be in the same group of friends and you get the lesson because it depends on your teacher. And it depends on how real your teacher is. Real draws real.
Yeah.
That's even in your mentorship. That's even in your leadership. How real you are is how real your audience is going to be with you.
Yeah.
Wow. That's powerful stuff. And I think that's so important because, again, that's one of the reasons why we were, so straightforward with our kids. We made sure that they understood exactly everything. Because our mentality is, one time somebody, I think I posted a picture on one of my social media pages before where we were doing something with the boys, and they asked me, they said, wow, I love how you invest so much time in your kids. I'm like, what do you mean? It's my kids. And I'm like, and I thought about it for a while. I replied back, I invest in them today so I don't have to financially support them in the future. And that to me was the whole concept of building an independent, confident young man. There you go. Or young men. So,
But I think you said something that I don't want to skip over. You and I know we hate to turn, not saying you invested in them, but you poured into them now with the expectation of reaping something from them later. Oh, yeah. Reaping independence, reaping being able to go to a Brown University where the price tag is $76,000 each. And y'all, shameless plug, Steve is about to drop a podcast, he and his wife, about how to, it is geared for our Black and brown children, to how to get our children through this educational system and how to get them into these top level Ivy League schools and giving them the power to be equally competitive while holding their head up in that, and how to financially finance that mug as well. Now, I needed you about 10 years ago. In fact, I'm going to send a couple of these college bills to you.
We were trying to figure it out 10 years ago. We were on the path. But I think that's something critical. We actually told the boys, the guys, you got to knuckle up, you got to man up, and you take it to the chest and expect your lumps. I think that when we try to coddle and overprotect, they don't. But when it happens, oh my God, they freak out. You know what I mean? So one of the things that we were so clear with them was stuff is going to happen. It's how, like you mentioned, Keith, is how you deal with what happens. It's important, and understand that it's okay to fail, but if you fail, treat that as a learning lesson, and then just don't duplicate that again.
At 14, at 14, I'm glad you said that. At 14, I started hearing, you do know you're leaving here, right?
Oh,
I think I heard it at 10.
Exactly.
A husband. You know what I mean? So at 14, I started hearing, you do know you are here. So let's learn some things because I can't have two men in my house.
Ooh, wow. I like it.
And silence hit. And silence hit.
Crickets.
So I too often, and it's no secret, I grew up in a very rough domestic violent household, and I believe I at times overcompensate. So I'm glad I had a Steve to go to. I'm glad I had a Vindon to go to when I was struggling in this thing called parent, because they have come and saved the day for that joker that I wanted to put out my house. I know I've talked to Keith about my son. Sometimes I'm like, listen, let me tell you something. I'm about to put him on a one-way bus ticket. He don't get a plane ride. I'm not even giving him some chicken wrapped in foil or nothing in a brown bag. He gonna be footing it. But what I think it's very important that we have each other to call on. But Korey, in your experience, why do we think men, black men, have problems and struggle with being vulnerable and being and really disclosing our information or our true problems? Because, like you said, you good? Oh, I'm good. I'm cool. When in actuality, we aren't.
It's chaos.
I think it's tough, man. I've had the opportunity to travel around the world and see a lot, and I've also been able to date different types of people, and so I say that because I don't think black men ever have a time where they can just chill.
Oh, wow.
We always have to be on.
Yes.
And so, I mean, that's nothing against my other brown brothers and sisters, and but when you think about it, like. I went to Mexico a year ago, and I was just talking to someone from that land, and was ladies, and I said, "Well, how do you all look at black men?" I just asked that specifically. He was like, "Oh, you all are strong," and da 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 da. I'm like, "But when people outside of the United States feel that way, we have to always live up to that, and that goes to our women too. Though that." I hope I don't get cussed out.
Say Korey, we listen. We all right.
I know that women want us to be emotionally available and intelligent, but when we do, I think men feel like
it's weakness.
It's weakness.
Yeah.
When do we have a chance to be weak? When it's not, and usually it's not enough brothers like us around to talk. During the times when you do have those vulnerable times, you don't find the Martins around. You find the other guys around. You're like, I need to talk to somebody, or you need somebody almost to say, what's wrong, brother? Like, no, good. Talk to me. No, it's okay. Good. Let's have a conversation about it. You made a bad mistake. That's okay.
Right.
We all go through it. So in my mind, I feel like we have outlets and different things that we may do, but we don't have enough people around to say, you need, like we talked about in our podcast, like having your head on that pillow. I can never rest.
That's right.
Because I always got to be on. And I'm like, when can I not be on? I got to be on in my job. I got to be
firing all cylinders.
Even when I'm going outside, I'm going to the grocery store and they talking about Black Lives Matter. It's been Black Lives Matter since I've been born. And I felt that in different areas of my life, even at my workplace, even when I'm around sometimes my own sisters. They expect a lot out of me sometimes. And I'm like, when do you get a chance to just, take a second? And it's hard when you have to live up to that sometimes.
What you mean, not be black?
Right.
Well, that we can't. Right. We always are in that. So
one thing to piggyback on that, and I'll talk about as far as parenting. I find myself guilty of telling my sons that because you're black, you got to be on. You got to be faster, because they played lacrosse. Your son played son played golf. My sons played lacrosse, and my eldest boy played football. So it was like, you got to be the best, even in academic. You guys got to be. That's your sport. You got to you got to get that A. It was bringing home a B was unacceptable in the Rasa GT household.
Can I at least bring home a B plus?
Man, nope.
But you have. I think that's good. It's a blessing and a curse. But at the end of the day, it's the truth. You have to be better.
Right.
Now the society is saying that it's okay and this and the third. But you had to just to be seen.
Right.
You have to be faster to be seen. If you're not, then you just
get an opportunity. To get that opportunity and to be recognized. Yeah.
And the deeper thing for us, even today, the reason why we can't rest, because for us, it's still a responsibility.
There you go.
You know what I mean? We haven't reached the levels and the gains that we would hope that we would by this time, or at least our grandparents would think that we are by this. So we're still in the struggle. Just to even be recognized ourselves as legal citizens in the United States.
Wow. Right. Because it has been rough. It has been that, and we always have to do this delicate dance between doing the right thing. Am I pushing hard enough? Am I pushing too hard? Am I giving too much emotion? Am I giving no emotions at all? And how to even relegate, and that's been the challenge of
and it's even 10 notches up for black women. Okay. Oh my gosh! Look at Kamala Harris when she was in that briefing. She couldn't really in a debate. she had to calm it down and be PC because she don't want to be the angry black woman.
She don't want to be sassy. Yeah,
exactly.
Yes. Let's put up Alana's comment real quick, and we're going to. Man, the time is almost done. All right, says, I love this amazing conversation among black men. Are there any organizations or activities that you would suggest that work to empower your sons when they were younger? I know in Orange County they have the 100 Black Men, and they have the 100 Black Men Youth Edition that specifically, and Rick Archer is a part of that organization. We have now. Do you still, Korey, work with young black men? That's in the teenage realm, or do you know any organizations that do?
I do. I have a couple of mentees.
Okay.
I actually have 2 girls and a boy, so I mentor the girls more so than I do the boys.
Okay.
Just from my past and experience and working with young people in the past, but same thing. The 100 Black Men is around, but here's the thing that I would say that's different. It's like a woman's movement now. When I don't know how old you all are, but you all remember the Million Man March.
Yes.
You all remember those things that we had. And people don't say, well, we don't need a leader, but I'm like, we do need some type of we need more platforms like this to talk about the things like this, because like you said, the brother to 6'5", I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Keith, to your point, it's so important for us to have that responsibility. And we should, because that's what they did then too. Louis Farrakhan, whatever he said that I may have agreed with or not, there was a level of respect that we still have for that brother. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, his responsibility. So I feel like men don't have that level of responsibility, and I hate to see that go down the drain as we continue to move on, because the women are getting it, and as they should get their flowers now. But I'm starting to see not enough men come together like we're doing right now and supporting one another and young men. So I think fraternities have it too. I went through the Alpha Leadership Program growing up, so that was a part of my development, and so I really love that program, and it helped me out a lot.
Right. Keith, what about yourself? Do you know of any that's out in the Missouri area?
I mean, other than your boys and girls clubs, and then for me, growing up in the rural, so there wasn't too many black things, so Cub Scouts and things of that nature. And then being a church kid, I always had a deacon assigned to me.
There you go.
So you're a PK. you're a PK, so yes.
I was the mischievous one, so I always had a deacon or somebody, a strong. These deacons, well, let me leave that alone. But my deacon, the pull you to the side deacons. That's what we had growing up.
Right. And I think that it speaks up, because I think that even in our traditionally in our black churches, we used to be able to turn to them for that type of support. At least pseudo mentorship, and so Korey, I'm totally agreeing with you in that we need to have avenues, venues, organizations. So the call is out there. We need more black men to step up to help one another and to help our young people and help our community.
One of the things, I'm sorry to cut you off.
You're all right.
One of the things I feel like we missed in our communities, what we did was we moved out of our communities to do a better job and didn't raise our families. And I'm not saying that nobody's wrong, because I've done it too, right? But I think that back then people stayed in their communities, and you had those men it was a responsibility for the entire community. And then once we got to a place where we couldn't talk to other young men because of their parents may have said we stopped doing it to each other. At one point we held each other to a certain level of accountability.
Sure.
So Keith could have talked to my son, I could have talked to his son, because I respected Keith, and I knew that Keith, part. Hey,
yes.
What did he do? Nah, I already know. Right. But nowadays, parents can't say anything to other people's parents, and people parent differently.
But they do. That is a real deeper conversation.
Hey, man.
That right there, we lost control through other avenues. That is a
Well,
deeper conversation.
any of those boys who came to my house, they knew, said, listen,
yeah.
if you come to my house, I ain't going to beat you, but I'm going to show enough you got to respect my rules.
There you go.
And I don't
I may
mind
choke
kicking
you out a little bit. If I'm babysitting, that's the rules.
There you go.
Oh, so that's why a lot of kids didn't go to Steve's house, because we knew what was
Grocery bill was on point.
Trey, what's going on, my brother? With that, listen, time has gone by. We out of here. We got Troy. Troy, I'm gonna get you on the next show. Now that we know how to get your internet going right, we got you, Troy, on the next show with that. So we appreciate you. How can we get a hold of you guys in the future? Because we need to have another part to this, because we need to definitely have more conversations. Put up Roderick's comment. Yeah, we're gonna pray for Roderick. You might get chopped in the throat.
Right.
That's my parenting style. Yeah, I'm South American. That's how we roll.
See, that's what we'll let you guys. Keith, how can we get a hold of you, and how do we follow you? Because you got some good stuff, man.
I'm doing all that right now with the help of someone, but right now you can find me on Facebook, Keith Caldwell.
Okay.
I look just like this.
You sure? I've seen you in many looks. I seen you put some dye in that beard.
Marty, that's not this
man.
conversation. That's not this conversation.
Why are you shooting? Why is he throwing shade?
That's not right. That's not this conversation. Keep it light. Keep it air.
Listen, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. People say, well, we definitely, because we don't have, and that's why I love partnering with Korey in this, because we need to have more conversations like this, so that so black men know it's okay to say, listen, bro, I ain't doing okay. I'm about to snap, and when I do, it ain't gonna be nice either. Just to be able to pull us back some. Steve, Rasta GT, how can we get a hold of you?
Well, I can be reached on all social media platforms: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Smoke Signal, at IVBoundLA. That's the new. That's my
Come on.
IV Building Parenting Mindset podcast and YouTube channel that's coming out on Marcel Media within the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that.
Come on, Marcel Media. You know how we like to roll over here. And of course, Korey, how do we follow you, and how can we get involved, especially those in the DMV area? Thomas, you got to hook up with my brother up here. Thomas, I saw you were on earlier. Please do. How do we get a hold of you, Korey?
Yeah, please. My website is tomorrowsmen.com, and I'm at Tomorrow's Men on Instagram and on Facebook. So please follow me there. And my podcast is called The Brother to Brother Show. I'm on my second season. I had to go to a second season, so I'm on my third episode. Please check us out at the Brother to Brother Show.
Excellent. We need more podcasts out there. So, listen, y'all, I have so enjoyed this conversation. It was one that was definitely needed. Korey, I appreciate you staying up late on the East Coast, my brother.
Yeah, it's okay, man. I enjoyed the conversation.
Yes, that's what it's all about, and thank you guys again for coming on. And again, I want to thank you guys for coming and following us on Mental Health Matters with Marty. It is our desire that no one has to suffer in silence in the shadow of shame, but we want you to get some help. So again, I am Martina Sellers, your mental health hygienist. Please follow me on the following platforms. Of course, you're following us on YouTube, Facebook right now, Mental Health Matters with Marty, and on YouTube at Martinez Sellers. But please check out my website at mentalhealthmarty.com. You can get this t-shirt, I Am Enough, hashtag Mental Health Matters is one of our products we have on there. But also check out our podcasts. The podcast is this, Mental Health Matters with Marty, and I have Steve is on there, and Vinden and a couple others, and we have just done another part with doing Black fathers and how to help Black fathers out. So if you're an Apple listener, please give us a 5-star rating and leave us a review. But also become an iMatter member by texting iMatter to 855-717-1272. Again, that's iMatter to 855 717-1272. So again, join us next week for another exciting show. I will be on this coming Wednesday with the doctors for House Calls with Dr. Allen. And we're going to be addressing on this episode on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday at 7 p.m. I know that's late for us here on the East Coast and West Coast and everything, 7 p.m., but we'd love to have you as we do House Calls. But as I always say, we don't want you to secretly suffer in silence in the shadow of shame, but always speak up, speak out, and live. As always, we want you to enjoy your life. See you next time.